For this movie, I'm working in our flyer template from the project files. So what do you do when you're faced with this situation? You've created a design and the team lead or project manager comes back and says, we need to change the size or the orientation of this project. Well, thankfully, here in InDesign CS5, there are a couple of tools that make this easy for us to do. And one way to do that is to access the File menu and go down to Document Setup. So if I need to change the size or the orientation of this, I can do that here by selecting a page size or specifying my width and my height or my orientation. So if I come down and let's say select European A4 for an example and come down, then this is going to bring that to the A4 size. If I hit Control Z on my keyboard, I'll just go ahead and bring that back to normal. Now something new here in CS5 is the Edit Page Layout tool, which is the third tool from the Tools palette. And this tool is exceptionally great if you are working in a multi-spread document or a book cover or that sort of thing, where you have multiple pages connected with each other. We can edit and resize those elements, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a later movie, but I'm going to keep it very simplistic for this movie. So let's say we have this single page, and I want to change the size and orientation of it. Well, by grabbing the page selection tool, I would come in and select the page that I want to edit, and again, this applies if I'm also working in a multi-page document. It doesn't matter what page. But you'll notice as I select it here, then this in my top control menu here brings up the menu items that I need to edit or manipulate this that are very similar to the document setup, but there are a couple of more options here that are going to help us out. So here I can specify it. I'm working in inches, the width and the height. So if I were to change the width and height in inches here, it is also going to change or affect the size of my document. Or just like the document setup, I can change from letter to any of the standard templates that come default or that I've created even. And here we have our layout from portrait to landscape. And this is a really good question, or a really good scenario. What happens, you've created this document in portrait format, and the team comes back and says that they've decided that they actually want to send this flyer out in landscape format, or they want to see what it looks like in landscape format. The question at the end of the day is, would you typically have to recreate the document, or would you have to go in, change the layout, adjust everything, move it around? In prior versions, the answer might have been maybe. But in the new version, CS5 really makes this simple, and I'm going to select two options here before I change this to a landscape. I'm going to select the Enable Layout Adjustment and Objects Move with Page. Now watch the magic as I switch this from portrait to landscape. Kerchow. Now it's not a perfect means to do this, but it's a lot simpler. InDesign tries to interpret by moving these elements around, but by making slight adjustments, I can get this the way that I want it to be. And now, within a few minutes, as opposed to maybe a half hour or so, I have a landscape version of my flyer that I can work with. And remember, as I'm doing this, I can save as copies so I have different versions of this file, and I'm not really doing any destructive editing. So a really good way that you can do page resizing and formatting here in InDesign CS5 to save you a lot of time.